Hey everyone. We all know how to talk about growing a business when everything's going right. But what happens when the storm hits? Today, we're diving into business resilience, how you can build a company that doesn't just get through the tough times, but actually comes out stronger. And we're going to use the high-pressure world of CPA firms as our guide to see exactly how the pros build organizations that are truly made to last.
But first, let me ask you something. Just take a second and think about where you work. What if your biggest client just vanished tomorrow? Or one of your key team members was suddenly out for a month, no warning? What would really happen? What is your organization's true breaking point? Because here's the deal. Every single business, and I mean every one, is fragile in some way. But the key thing to get is that resilience isn't about being totally unbreakable. It's about being adaptable. The companies that make it through aren't just lucky. They don't just hope for the best. They are built with intention, deliberately designed to handle the shocks that, let's be honest, are going to happen sooner or later.
So let's talk about when that storm actually hits. A real crisis doesn't just create new problems out of thin air. What it really does is act like a giant spotlight, ruthlessly exposing all the weak spots that were hiding just under the surface the whole time.
You know how it is in normal times, right? These little gaps seem fine. Maybe you lean a little too hard on that one superstar employee who knows everything. Or maybe your processes aren't perfectly written down. It's okay. Until it's really, really not. When a crisis hits, those tiny cracks can suddenly become huge canyons that threaten your entire operation.
So how do we fix this? Well, the very first layer of your defense is all about your internal structure. Real resilience starts from the inside out. It's about building what's basically a shock absorber right into the design of your team.
And this is just a perfect example of how that works. Look at this. By having these two super clear, distinct roles, you're actually building two layers of resilience. You've got your accounting manager, who's keeping the day-to-day engine running smoothly, but then you also have the controller, who acts as that second layer of leadership. They're ready to jump in, handle problems, and cover any gaps. So if one layer takes a hit, the other one can absorb the pressure, and the whole system doesn't just fall apart.
Okay, so you've made your internal core stronger. What's next? Well, once you've got your internal defenses sorted, the second layer is all about building a flexible external shield. It's about creating extra capacity that you can call on in an instant.
Now, this is a really critical mindset shift. We tend to think of outsourcing or offshore teams as just a way to save a few bucks, but their real value, their strategic value, is as a hidden backup engine. It's a survival strategy. It gives you this reserve of power that you can tap into the second you need it most.
A really powerful way to build this backup engine is with something called white label services. It's a simple idea, but it's brilliant. Basically, a partner firm does some of the work for you behind the scenes, and then you present that work to your client under your own brand. As far as your client is concerned, the whole experience is seamless. They just see you delivering great work.
So let's walk through what this looks like. Okay, boom, a crisis hits. Your workload just doubled overnight. Instead of everyone panicking, you just activate your partner. You instantly shift all that extra work over to them. Your client gets the exact same high-quality service they always do, and, just as important, your own team is protected from total burnout. It's like the perfect safety valve to release the pressure.
All right, on to our third layer of defense. This one is about reinforcing even your most critical, high-trust jobs. You know, the stuff you can't afford to get wrong, like an audit, and making them more resilient too, without ever compromising quality.
Check out this model for a resilient audit. It's so smart. Notice the division of labor here. The team in the US is focused on the high-value stuff, managing the client relationship, doing the final analysis. Meanwhile, a support team in India is handling all that crucial but super time-consuming prep work and documentation. What this does is free up your local team during those crazy peak times, and it makes sure the whole audit just keeps moving forward, no matter what happens.
Okay, these are some seriously powerful strategies. But I know what you're thinking. Putting them into practice brings up some totally fair questions. So let's just tackle the most common ones head on. This is the big one, right? If you suddenly have to bring in outside help to handle a crisis, are your clients going to notice? Are they going to feel like they're getting second best? And the answer is a clear nope, as long as you've done the work ahead of time to integrate them the right way. When your processes are solid and your communication stays consistent, the client sees one thing: your brand delivering exactly what you promised. All that support work, it's happening completely behind the scenes. All right, next question is all about timing. It is so tempting to think, you know what, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But is that really the right way to think about resilience?
Absolutely.
You have to build these systems before you need them. Resilience is proactive, not reactive. Think of it this way. You build your storm shelters when the weather is calm, so that when the hurricane finally shows up, your business barely even feels the tremors.
And you know, that really brings us to the most important point of all, the real why behind all of this. Building these systems isn't just a defensive move to survive. It's really about building and protecting the long-term trust you have with your clients and, just as important, with your own team. It creates loyalty because everyone knows the ship was built to last.
I want to leave you with this really powerful idea from our source material. It says, the firms that last aren't always the fastest. They're the ones who weather storms with integrity. And that's exactly what real resilience is. It's the ability to keep your integrity and your quality, especially when things get tough.
So let's end right where we started, with a question for you. After hearing all this, what do you now see as the single point of failure in your world? What's that one domino that could knock everything else over? And more importantly, what are you going to do to start designing a more resilient system around it? Thanks for watching.